Alrighty, everyone. We're going to be diving into the IAT CodeLock and how to use it. But the reason why I built this mod was to provide a modern solution to the existing CodeLock that already is out there and widely used by the community. And given that the latest DayZ updates have sort of shown in the logs and other areas where there could be room for improvement, this mod aims to take the existing CodeLock mod and build upon it and provide a modern solution to the community. And so we're going to talk about how to actually make this mod useful, given that there are a few differences based on the older CodeLock. So let's jump in. First things first, this CodeLock can attach to anything that has an existing CodeLock slot, and the mod itself provides two different code locks, and you'll be able to differentiate them by the label here. And the reason why is because sometimes you need to be able to test a code lock that isn't owned by you, and that's very difficult to do in a single player fashion. And so this debug code lock has no owner. And so this is a way for server owners to just lock a door with a generic password that everyone kind of knows, or not in this case. And it allows you to just lock doors and keep things restricted based on the code lock. So anyway, jumping in, we're going to go ahead and grab a code lock and take it into our hands. And the first thing you'll notice is that when you look at really anything that has a code lock slot, you're going to get this prompt to attach. Now, prior to the update that's about to be pushed out, you would have been able to see the code lock attachment here in this GUI. But for my mod, you need to actually click this attach button to assign ownership. Just clicking and dragging doesn't really let the game know who was holding the item from the server side, and it's just a little bit difficult to handle that. And so I've hidden that slot, so you'll notice that on everything that the slot is gone, but it doesn't mean the slot is unusable. It just really means that you can't see it until you attach it to the gate. And so once you attach it, you'll see the code lock, and you can't actually remove it because the code lock itself is locked. Now, from your perspective as the owner, since you were the one who attached it, you will see it as locked, and you'll see this prompt as manage code lock. Okay, and let's look what happens when we use a code lock that doesn't have an owner. What do we see there? And so we'll see the open prompt, right? Because the owner in this case is unlocked, and I can open and close it as I see fit. All right. Also, actually, I can open it because I'm an admin. In this case, once I turn my admin tools off, this is what a regular player would see. That kind of threw me for a loop for a second. And so a regular player, when they come up to your code lock, they're going to see this interact with code lock button, F for hold, right? And that's what would be seen. So this is what we see on our code lock when we own it. Now you might be wondering, well, where is the code lock itself? Well, it's kind of stuck in here, mainly because the default code lock that everyone uses already has like an offset, and I didn't want to mess with that specific offset and visuals because they use the same slot. And so once people eventually switch over and use the real one, I'll be able to move this forward, and it'll be pretty obvious that your gate has been code locked. And so you can kind of see it here. Now, a shameless plug for my own building, for my own doors that I've added. You can attach to the door, and in this case, the positioning is correct, as you would expect. So, okay. So we've just attached our code lock. We have the prompt to open our gate and to manage the code lock. So as the owner, you have the ability to do a couple things. I'm going to press F and hold, and this is going to open up the manage code lock view. It's pretty familiar from the old code lock that you're expecting to see. However, the things are a little different. You as the owner never have to put in your password. You own it. Why would you need to add a password? If enough people ask in the future, I can probably change this, but for now, I think that as an owner, you don't really need to ever enter your password. What you can do is change the existing password on the code lock, and you can unlock it and lock it. And so what unlocking does is it allows you to pull the code lock off of the gate. And that's for if you want to, remove the gate or remove the code lock or anything along those lines. And this is what allows other people to be able to enter in your gate or door without entering the code lock. And so this is a nice little feature to temporarily, and I use air quotes there, unlock your base. Sometimes on RP servers, or maybe even in safe zones, you want to be able to unlock an area so that anyone can get in. Then you want to be able to lock it up so that when you're gone, nobody can get in. And so that's kind of one of the nice things for this locking mechanism. And as you can come here, you can lock it back up, and it'll lock the area so that they'll be forced to prompt the password. Okay. And so by default, every code lock has the password 1234. That's just generic default that I've added. It makes things easier when setting up the code lock on the back end, just to assume that there's a default password. And so you'll want to come in here and you'll want to change your password to maybe 12345, and you have the ability to open this up and see the password. One of the things that my code lock enables over other people's code locks is the ability to add in text and case sensitive passwords. And so if you wanted to do something like that, then it would be allowable in this mod. And so you can definitely make very complex passwords if you want, and use text, numbers, symbols, anything like that. For me, I'm going to just change my passcode to 5, and then you get a confirmation to change it this way. In reality, you don't need to have it visible. You can just set it here. Usually it's visible. It's good to have it visible just in case. As a streamer, I understand you have this visible button, and then you click OK to change the password. And now it's updated. Anyone that did have access to this is now going to need to be reprompted for the password. And so that's an important thing to know. If I'm a user and I have your password and I enter it into here, I am now whitelisted and I don't need to enter the password again. And so that's a design decision, which can obviously change in the future. But at the moment, if you're whitelisted, you can always open the gate. Now we're going to look at tents. Tents have a little bit of a nuance with them, given that they are basically just an object that is proxied on here. So the way the code lock works is a little bit different compared to the gate. So we're going to go and take the code lock into our hands, but we'll be able to look at the tent basically anywhere. And on my server, I've made it so that I can pack the tent wherever I look, but on your server, you probably won't have that option. So in any case, you'll be able to attach the tent from the outside. There, we do that. Now, it's important to know that as the owner, you can see that the tent is locked. I can toggle the opening, close, I can go in, but you see that I can't manage the lock from the door, just like you would a gate. And it's important to know because this has caused a little bit of confusion with people thinking that the mod is broken. In reality, you need to come here and you need to come over and look around the middle of the tent. As you can kind of see, it's kind of finicky. But if you get here and you look at the middle of the tent, you can get that manage code lock prompt. And I'll probably fix this in the future with some memory points in the front, but at the moment this works and is good enough so the mod isn't like broken at the moment. So you can at least manage it a little bit from the middle place here. And you would lock and unlock it like you normally would. And you can kind of see the state of the tent here. It's locked state in the name. So let's go ahead and go over to this other tent here. We're gonna attach it. Same deal. You can toggle the front door from the front, but you can't actually manage the lock until you're inside and kind of looking at the door, looking at the ground here. Again, this is just a nuance of the tents and how they're an object and how they proxy their this other stuff here. And we're going to do this car tent live. I don't know if you can open or close it. You can toggle it. So where would this need? Attach to tent, locked. And if I come to the middle here, okay, yeah, manage code lock in the middle. So that's basically how the tents work. So if you lock it up, make sure you go to the middle of it and you can manage your prompt there. And this has been Tree's code lock mod. If you like these doors, you should check out my more door mod, which will fix the problem of having items in front of your door and not being able to pick them up, which is a prevalent problem in the normal more doors mod. Thank you for watching. See you next time.